Welcome to the Cincinnati Asian Art Society's 11th Annual Art Lecture on September 28, 2025. I'm Helen Rinsberg, President of the Society. Our program today is about Rediscovered Treasures, 60 hidden gems of East Asian art rediscovered through advanced research and conservation in the Cincinnati Art Museum. Our speaker today is Dr. Hou-mei Sung, who rediscovered these beautiful artworks through decades of research and amazing teamwork with multiple conservators. Dr. Hou-mei Sung, Curator of East Asian Art at the Cincinnati Art Museum, received her BA in Foreign Languages and Literature and an MA in Chinese History, both from the National Taiwan University. She also earned a PhD in Museum Studies from the Case Western Reserve University. Prior to coming to Cincinnati, Dr. Sung served as Research Associate at the Cleveland Museum of Art and a variety of research and teaching positions in museums and academic fields in Asia and throughout the United States, including the National Palace Museum in Taipei, Taiwan, John Carroll University, Case Western Reserve University, and Cleveland State University. She also worked as the Executive Officer of the Chinese American Faculty and Staff Association and Program Director of the Chinese Arts and Culture Celebration at Cleveland State University. Her research on the Ming Court paintings received a Fulbright Scholarship in 2000. Dr. Sung has curated popular exhibits as Dress to Kill, Japanese Arms and Armor, and Masterpieces of Japanese Art. Gotta get the right page here. She has over 50 publications, including Decoded Messages, the Symbolic Language of Chinese Animal Painting, currently used at the Metropolitan Museum of Art for text for their training program, Terracotta Army, Legacy of the First Emperor of China, Galloping Through Dynasties, and her most recent publication, From Shanghai to Ohio, for the popular 2024 exhibit on the Chinese immigrant artist Wu Chongyang. And now, Dr. Hou-mei Sung.
Thank you, Helen, for the great introduction. And thank you all for coming. And like Helen said, this exhibition is special to me because this is the 23rd year I worked here, and I really enjoyed all the exciting rediscoveries in our collection, and I want to share it with you. This exhibition features 60 works from our East Asian collection. Many works tell an interesting story about how it was rediscovered through research and conservation. The exhibition is divided into 3 sections. The first section introduces works that entered the museum in the 1800s and were never accessioned due to the lack of expertise in Asian art at that time. In 2002, when I came to Cincinnati, Asian art was under a big department called Ancient Near East and Far Eastern Art. So even though the Asian Art Department was established in 2002, but the collection was minimally explored. And the second section introduces works that were accessioned, but not fully identified or misidentified. In other words, any works that I found new information on the artists, nationalities, subjects, or functions. The third section is introducing the East Asian conservation techniques and our history in this department, the conservation history. And next, I want to point out the significance of the show. People ask, why do you do the show, and why is it so important? And this show addresses the 2 main functions of the museum as an institution, which is our museum's, which is the preservation and the interpretation of cultural objects and tradition. And now I'm going to give you examples from the 3 sections. Oh, sorry, I forgot to show this. The 3 sections. Okay. The first example is 3 suits of armors. These, in 2002, when I first arrived at the Cincinnati Art Museum, I found disassembled pieces of 3 suits of armor in the storage with no ID and only tagged as suit number 1, suit number 2, and suit number 3. And the pieces were scattered and not easy to tell apart. After an investigation, I found that suit number 2 here was donated in 1881 by WAMA. WAMA is the Women's Art Museum Association. This organization was instrumental to the founding of this museum. And this suit number 2 was donated by Mrs. Enoch through WAMA. And it is also the first Asian object, the earliest one, entered the museum collection. And then this is the suit from, it's really, in 1881, the museum has not even opened its doors to the public. And the other 2, suit number 1 and 3, they are the 2 suits. After some research, I found that they are the 2 suits that the museum purchased in 1892 from Dr. Ellen Kelsey. Dr. Kelsey was an American female doctor who went to Japan in 1885 as a medical missionary and a teacher of a Japanese girls' school in Yokohama. And the purchase of these 2 suits of armor told a very touching story of how Dr. Kelsey sold these 2 suits of armor, which she received for her charity work in Japan, to the museum in order to help her 2 Japanese students, Kakusudo and Hana-abe, to obtain medical education at a medical college in Cincinnati. The 2 girls so admired Dr. Kelsey as a woman to become a doctor in the late 19th century. So Dr. Kelsey brought the 2 girls to Cincinnati. Why Cincinnati? Because Cincinnati has a Laura Memorial Women's Medical College, which is one of the very few medical schools in the US that admitted women at that time. And in 1896, well, actually, Dr. Kelsey and the girls sold these 2 suits of armor to our museum to raise funds for their tuition and living, and they also did an auction at the museum to sell some other items. And both of these Japanese girls obtained their medical degrees and became pioneer female doctors in Japan. And the 3 doctors then went back to Yokohama and established the Nigishi Charity Hospital, and where they continued to serve the poor until 1907. After confirming the provenance of these 2 suits of armor, I accessioned them in 2013. And here I want to add a note. In the Laura Memorial Women's Medical College, in 1903, merged with the Miami Medical College and later became the conglomerate department of the medicine at the UC. So this is really part of the pride of our Cincinnati history. Next, I want to tell you a story of a group of paintings called the alphabetic scrolls. When I came to, shortly after I arrived in 2002, I found a group of 23 scroll paintings. They were known as the alphabetic scrolls. Scroll A, B, C, D, E, F, G, until U. All these paintings have no ID or information, and nobody knows where they come from or, and who gave them to us. After a tedious search through the museum archives and the records, I was able to trace this group of paintings to the estate of Robert Bloom. You know Robert Bloom, the very famous American painter who was a native of Cincinnati, who went to Paris later to become a famous artist. And Robert Bloom went to Japan from 1890 to 1892 on a commission from the Scribner's magazine to illustrate a series of articles on Japan. And while he was in Japan, he developed very strong interest in Japanese art and started to collect. He collected a large group of Japanese paintings, prints, and no masks, which were all gifted to our museum in 1906. So after I found that information through these archives, I realized these 23 paintings were all collected by Robert Bloom. But at that time, nobody can read the Japanese signature or the title or to differentiate this painting is Chinese or Japanese. At that time, imagine in the late 19th century, the museum simply don't have staff who can do that. That's why they were not accessioned, because in order to accession, you need to have the name of the artist, you have to know what they are. So now I want to show you a few. This is scroll A. And as you can see, it's a masterpiece of Tosa Mizuoki and depicting Mount Fuji. And another example, this is a famous painting now. This is scroll S. And this is Haritsu Ogawa's animal story scroll. You can see this painting depicting birds and the frogs disguised as human poets and engaged in a poetry contest. And I cannot show you the full scale. It would take too long. But in the gallery, you can still see the first section, which is birds. You can see here, these are the birds. And there appears to be depicting a young female poet in front of a judge. The pink-robed little girl, bird girl, she must have submitted her poem to the judge now. And it is a very interesting and beautiful painting. And then, okay, this is the frog section. Unfortunately, our scroll case is simply too small to show the full scale. So it's a beautiful painting, a lot of narrative details, very interesting. Okay, now I come to section 2. Section 2 is, I call it revealing identities. It's any painting that was misidentified or lack of information. And this painting, as you can see, it used to be labeled as a Korean Buddhist painting. But after research, and we attribute it to Chinese. So it's a Chinese Buddhist painting. This painting has never been displayed, even though it entered the museum in 1957, partly because it was never mounted and in very poor condition. But now we have remounted it. And this painting, also I identified it as a Korean painting of the Joseon dynasty, about 18th century. And I also identified the main deity as the Hindu god Indra, who gained increasing popularity in Korean temple, in Korea, in the temple painting, after the Joseon ruler adopted Confucianism as the national philosophy and turned away from Buddhism. Anyway, there are a lot of details I'm not going to specify here. Okay, this painting, the photo is not very easy to see, but you will see it in a gallery much better. And this was originally attributed to Korea, attributed to a known Korean painter. The reason is, even though the painting was signed by the artist called Xu Gui, and the problem is Xu Gui was not in the art history, he was not documented. And this painting is very interesting because when I first came in 2002, when I came to Cincinnati Art Museum, this is the first painting that made me really excited. Because before I came here, when I was a graduate student, one of my major research is reconstruct the biographies of little known or unknown artists of the Ming Court. And one of the one I reconstructed, the biography is Xu Gui. And and I found out that he was in the 15th century Ming Court. He is a recorded court painter. And later he became a leading painter. But when I was researching on Xu Gui's biography, at that time, there were no surviving paintings. So you can imagine how excited I was when I saw this painting in this museum and read the inscription, this is by Xu Gui. So of course I reattributed it to the painting, the Korean tiger, as a Chinese tiger painting. And also I will just point out a little bit about the subject. This painting depicts tiger with cubs. The scene of a tigress nursing her young first appeared in China in the 10th century. This scene, which is the most dangerous thing you can see for a human being or a painter to see, because you know, the tigress is very protective of their cubs. And in China, it developed many political and social messages. Particularly in the Song dynasty, it was associated with the harsh rule of corrupt officials. This was based on the legend of a notorious Han dynasty official called Ningcheng. Han dynasty is a 2nd century BC to 2nd century AD. This corrupt official called Ningcheng, who gained the nickname of tiger with cubs because people compared the danger of witnessing his rage with that of a scene of a tiger nursing the young. However, by the Ming Dynasty, when this painting was painted, the negative reference was replaced by the positive message of Confucian virtue of filial piety. So this is what is depicted. Also, one of the interesting discoveries related to my old research of Ming court painters. This painting was purchased as by an anonymous Ming painter, even though it was clearly signed the name of the artist and his rank in the court. As I mentioned before I came to this museum, my research was on on Ming, little-known Ming court painters, trying to reconstruct their biographies. And Zhang Jin is another one of them. So he was, according to my reconstructed biography, he was a leading master of figure painting in the Ming court. And not only him, his family, for 3 generations, they were the highest ranked court painters in the Ming. However, his name, if you check the Chinese Painters Dictionary or art history, you don't have any biography. Sometimes there's one name, just Zhang Jin, a painter, that's it. So after I found his dates, his official career, when he was promoted and all that, I reconstructed a detailed biography. However, again, at that time, there's 0 surviving paintings I can see. So after I came to Cincinnati, in 2011, I suddenly discovered this painting in Japan in a dealer's place. And of course, immediately I purchased for our museum. This painting is especially significant because not only it is the only surviving work by the Ming court painter, it also changed our understanding of the Ming painting history in terms of portraiture. And this painting is, as you can see, is a full-length portrait of a Taoist immortal called Han Xiangzi. And he's crossing the river while playing the flute. Han Xiangzi, the immortal, was, according to Chinese history, he was a statesman of the 9th century. He was disillusioned with the teachings of Confucianism and the pursuit of officialdom. So Han Xiangzi found the universal truth through Taoism and eventually reached the status of a Taoist immortal. But here, you can see how Zhang Jin, the artist, how he portrayed this immortal. Instead of following the conventional approach of exaggerating the immortal's exotic features and the magic performing narratives, Zhang Jin, the artist, drew on his discipline in portraiture and created a new image for the immortal. Zhang chose to depict Han, the immortal, as an intelligent and warm human. And yet, the enlightened state of the immortal is unmistakable. You can see it. We can see that not only his Taoist outfit made of natural leaves, reeds, and the animal skins, but also the cosmic rhythm of the rushing waves and the music he is playing. Indeed, as we look at the mesmerizing waves and the drifting mist emerging and disappearing into the blank silk, defined by Zhang, the artist's ink-washed background, we learn that the contrasting yin and yang, or solid and void forms, actually exist as extremes along a constantly shifting and interchangeable continuum. This is the Taoist philosophy, how you see the world in yin and yang, solid and void, and how they balance, how they contrast. And so this is all conveyed beautifully by Zhang Jin, the artist, in this painting. And you can also almost hear the music he is playing. And about this work, I already published in 2014. So if you are interested, there's a detailed discussion. Next painting is also very interesting to me. And this painting is called the Eagles and Magpies. And it's another example of my past research matched the painting. As you can see, this painting depicts a large male eagle perched on a high cliff and a group of small magpies chirping toward the eagle from below. This is really, as you can see, this is really odd scene. You will never find this kind of scene in nature. And that's why it generated my initial interest to research on this painting. And when I was a student, I found two paintings depicting this scene, one in the British Museum, one in China in Tianjin Museum. And as soon as I see this very unusual depiction, I realized there must be a reason behind it. There typically must be a message. So what I learned is that this design was a well-documented painting created by a painter called Lü Ji of the 15th century in the Ming court. And the purpose of his painting is to offer admonition to the emperor. And Lü Ji was famous in the court for doing that. And he used many homonymic messages. Like here, Lü Ji used the homonymic association of 3 sets of puns: the eagle, the calling magpies, and the mountain stream, to convey this Confucian message of a wise ruler listen to admonitions. And of course, I know you don't know Chinese, so it's hard for me to explain. Well, actually, I could say that the pronunciation of yin can be eagle or wise. The calling magpies, obviously, the offering admonition, that's easier to understand. And the mountain stream, jian, can be read as admonition or mountain stream. And that's how he created this complex message to offer advice to the ruler. And so in other words, the painting's title can be read as either eagle and the calling magpies listen to mountain stream, or a wise ruler listen to admonition. They are all pronounced yin, ming, ting, jian in Chinese. So anyway, because of this painting's didactic message, it was used by the ruler to educate the young heir apparent for his future rule. And it was clearly documented. But no painting survived. No painting we recognize as depicting it. So until I found this, the eagle is there, the mountain stream is there, the calling magpies are there, so it matched so when I matched the document, famous painting in the court, and then with this painting, so I was really excited. And this painting in our museum was found in 2002, 2 years after I came here. I found this painting in New York, again, in a dealer's place. So, of course, I immediately purchased for our museum. So, next, I want to show you a Japanese painting, which is also a treasure in our museum. This painting depicts the legend of Amaterasu. I think all the Japanese people here knows the story. Amaterasu is the Shindo sun goddess, and also the mythical ancestor of the Japanese imperial family. And according to Japanese mythology, Amaterasu's brother, Susanoo, he was the storm god, and he ravaged the earth and upset his sister Amaterasu so much that she retreated into a cave, plunging the world into darkness. And to lure her out, the other deities gathered together outside and organized a program of wild entertainment. And hearing the noise and growing curious, Amaterasu peeked out, and another deity pulled her from the cave and restoring light to the world. So this is the story. But this painting was clearly signed by Hoen Yoshiteru. But again, this artist has no biography or any information available in art history, in Japanese art history. So after I researched, I realized that almost all his paintings were wrongly attributed to another artist with a similar name, but very famous. So that painter is called Nishiyama Hoen, and they share the Hoen part. So all his paintings I found, even though he signed his name, they are all attributed to Nishiyama Hoen. So I started to reconstruct his biography and reestablish his identity. And this research also led me to find another work, again in New York, in the dealer's place, this beautiful painting of 100 birds. It was also signed by himself, but misattributed to Nishiyama Hoen. So this is a long, complicated process. I'm not going to elaborate here, but anyway, it's very exciting when you find that. And so I bought this painting in 2005. And the first painting was a gift to us from Mrs. Dunlop. And I will say a few words. This beautiful painting of 100 birds is a Chinese theme, using numerous various species of birds. They coexist harmoniously to symbolize people of all walks of life living in peace and prosperity. We need that, right? And then next one, I think you are familiar. This is the magic mirror. We have publicized quite a lot earlier when I discovered it. And the magic mirror is a plain-looking bronze mirror that had been sitting in our storage for many years before I rediscovered its magic nature in 2021. During the pandemic, I was doing research on this mirror, even though I have displayed it earlier, but not knowing its magic. So when I was researching on it, I was curious because I know there's magic mirror of similar type. So I asked our conservator to shine the light and see if something appears. And then indeed, when you shine a focused light on the mirror, suddenly in the dark, suddenly a Buddha appears. This is what happens. And so the mirror is just, the front is just a polished surface. The back has Buddha's name, and the whole object is supposed for people to use as a prayer object. They can carry it and hang it in front of in their room or in front of their bed. When they are not well, they can pray and recite Buddha's name and they will be saved. But imagine if it create magic like this, it's even more exciting, right? More convincing. Anyway, so even though some of you have seen it earlier when I displayed it in the gallery, but if you see it this time in the exhibition, you will notice it's the image is much sharper because our conservator, Kelly, cleaned up the corrosion and the fingerprint, so now it's much better. And also we did a scan. You can see the image of the scan. CT scan of the mirror. Next, I want to show you a sumo apron. In Japanese, it's called a mawashi. And as you can see, this beautiful sumo apron is made of dark blue silk, and decorated with two golden embroidery of butterfly and two characters called Odokoyama. When I displayed it earlier, some of you may have seen in the masterpieces, I read it from the left to the right. And then I didn't know whose apron it was. But then later, I tried to read it from right to left. And I found who this apron belonged to. That is really exciting. And the apron actually belonged to Odokoyama Osuke or Oyama Osuke. And this is a very promising young sumo wrestler from Saitama. And he was amazing in Japan when he was young because he was over 6 feet tall and heavy, but very agile. And in Japan, that's rare. So he was sent to be trained under the great master Hanako Heigoro, and everybody is very hopeful that he will be the big star. But unfortunately, his career was cut short by a tragic accident in 1886. When he was touring, he was in a small village, and at that time, 1880s, the Japanese house, wooden house, is made rather poorly. So when he went to the bottom, the floor collapsed. So he was badly hurt on his back. And he was really seriously injured, and then he died shortly after. So, people really love him, and they, in his hometown, they made a print for him. And that's the next exciting discovery, because I displayed this once in Masterpieces show, our Japanese Masterpieces show. At that time, I didn't know there is a print here. See, when I found this print, I was so happy he is wearing our print. So this is a woodblock print made by Udagawa Kuniaki II, and featuring Osuke wearing our apron. This woodblock print is very rare too. I believe it's a limited edition, very limited edition made by his hometown people. Okay, and now we look at an object. This is also section 3. Section 3 is about conservation, and this is a Tang Dynasty dancing horse. In 2020, I noticed that this is before and after. The right side is the before. The left side is the after. You notice the before, there is a tassel on the horse's forehead. And in 2020, I noticed that the tassel on the horse's forehead was inconsistent with the town fashion of horses. And I suspected that it was wrongfully placed there from an early repair. So I discussed with our object conservator, and she agreed with me to do some testing. So we worked with the UC Department of Chemistry and did a series of chemical analysis and confirmed that the tassel was added much later and not the original. So this is one example of that. Now I want to show you a few paintings that was conserved before, show you the picture of before and after. You know, Asian conservation is a unique art. It really is amazing technique. So this was remember the alphabetic scrolls? This is scroll L. And it's a pair depicting cranes. It was really poor when it came in. And this before, look at the after. Isn't that beautiful? And then another alphabetic scroll M, before and after. And then another one, scroll Q, before and after. So next, I want to also show you this screen. This is a Genji, the Tale of Genji screen by Chiyo Mizuhisa, a female, very rare female artist. And this painting, I know the importance, but we don't have money to restore it. And in 2012, the Tokyo Culture Research Institute, I alerted them when I was in Japan about this, and they realized the importance, so they decided to restore for us for free. However, we need to ship it, and just to ship this screen to Japan, we still need help. And we're very lucky. We have the Asian Art Society people helped us, and a few individuals. So we got to restore it to this. Yeah. And this is really a beautiful screen. And this is the team who did it. And I want to alert you upstairs that when you enter the show, this is the screen, but it's much smaller than regular Japanese screen because it's painted by a female. So maybe that's why it's smaller, and it's a little hard to see because our light, but it's really one of the oldest screens that depict the tale of Genji. In the past 2 decades, we received generous support from the Carpenter Foundation, the Dunlop Foundation, Cincinnati Asian Art Society, and many individuals who support this cause, and that made this exhibition possible, and I'm really grateful. That's all, and I hope as you walk through the gallery exhibition, you will enjoy the same sense of rediscovery as I did. Thank you.
You want to take a few questions?
There are some, but I basically, I only speak for my department. I think I singled out all the important ones, and in the past 23 years, maybe 1 or 2 left. Most of them were restored, but there are many that may not be considered like especially outstanding, but they really feel some gaps or reinforce some of art history development, and I really hope to restore all of them. Yeah, I would say not too many, but the need is still there. And also, I don't know if you know, average after 10 years, the painting need some maintenance. So it's a constant need.
Yeah. Dr. Cameron Kitchen, our director, last time he updated the docents, said that we have 67,000 artworks in the museum at this time. Not all of them can be shown, and not all of them are of the quality to be shown. Some are just for a study on that.
But we do have Western conservators for oil painting, that kind of thing. We do have conservator in-house, but not Asian. That is the most frequent asked questions. Yes. In the ancient time, the Chinese and Japanese people always have paintings with the mixed cups there. I think they consider them related families or something, or created some variation. So that's always there. I think it's ancient myth. I don't know if it's real, but I think that it's definitely a phenomenon that's shared by all Asian. But a tiger is native in China. I don't know about the leopard. Yeah. Which painting?
One of the birds.
Oh, that's ink wash. It's like watercolor, but it's ink. And actually, that's very interesting because ink wash is one of the amazing techniques the Chinese master, and it really amazing. Sometimes on a blank silk, you just put a little bit of wash, suddenly it appears as clouds or mist, or it can be water. So this is exactly, very often I think the challenge for people to look at Asian painting is, if you look like in the Western painting, you focus on light source, vanishing point, perspective, but in Asian, it's really solid and void. The ancient yin-yang cosmology is built in how they paint. The mountain, the river, the contrast, and also all these yin-yang cosmology to depict space and all this. If you look at the Asian painting, very often the cloud is just ink-washed mist, or the water, the surface of the water. Just by one stroke, it suddenly become solid. Like ink can make things appear and disappear. This is all consistent with the Taoist, earliest Chinese Taoist. Before Taoist, the Taoist developed from yin-yang cosmology. So this philosophy actually is so important for our understanding of Asian painting. That's why it's also the most challenging when I try to display paintings to explain to people. Don't look at like a three-dimensional Western painting, then you don't see anything. Okay.
I'm wondering, it was a great gift to us that you came and found these hidden treasures.
Thank you. I really enjoy that. It's really fun to be. Well, I'm sure everyone is doing that. Whenever the curator have the time, they do research publication to publicize what they discovered. And actually that the Hou-mei painting, after I did reconstruct the identity of Cohen, the British Museum told me they changed their name from Nishiyama Hou-mei to our. So it's very, very, very satisfying to do that. It's the best part of the part I enjoy the most. But I have to tell you, in museums, we are not like university professors. We don't build in time for research. So it's more or less on your own. You have to squeeze out time to do research. And also research involves a lot of resource. You need to purchase the photo, you need to travel to see the original works of art. All that for a small museum is very challenging. So, but I really love it, so, yeah.
I'd like to make a plug here just because Hou-mei and I have talked about this a number of times. Cincinnati was a hotbed of interest in Japanese and Chinese art in the late 1890s and into the early 20th century. We think that there are an awful lot of undiscovered treasures in attics somewhere in this city, because at one point in 1895, there were 3 stores that sold Japanese artwork. 3. Now, they did sell some older things, but they did sell a lot of antiques. If you ever have a chance to read A Daughter of the Samurai, our beautiful ox cart that's up there was donated by her and had been part of her husband's business before he died. We have some other things from them too. But we know that that family sold a lot of stuff to Cincinnati families. And Hou-mei and I just hope some people go into their attics and go, I wonder if it's worth it. So, was there another question yet?
Yeah, I also want to say, if you are a Cincinnatian, you should be very proud. I wish I could be one, because Cincinnati in the 18th century, through my research, I discovered how this city is so amazing in terms of the exchange, direct exchange with Japan. Like the 2 doctors we educated in our UC medical school, former UC medical school. There are almost the core of our collection was built by Cincinnati civic leaders, travelers, missionaries, diplomats, and I was going to do a show about this exchange. There are so many stories I couldn't tell you here, and it shows how Cincinnati in the late 19th century, how important, how much there's almost like a missing chapter of Cincinnati history just by looking at the exchange between Cincinnati and Japan. Really interesting.
Thank you so much for being here today. I hope to see you at the reception. Thank you.